Breaking news for the Cosmos Hub and Atom community. We saw last night the release of the Atom Wars draft proposal on the community forum. And this idea could actually generate a whole lot of revenue and become a business model, a sustainable business model for Atom, driving its utility, driving its organic demand. So what that is all about is what we're going to be talking about today. We actually go through the entire proposal. But before we do that, quick look at the markets. We see nothing much is changing here. Atom at $9.23. Flix, we talked about it yesterday, back at $36 up 16% on the day. And the biggest loser today here is Territory, but I think they had a pump the day before. So nothing much is happening. All is going pretty much sideways. Also, Bitcoin still hovering around 40,000. And yeah, it's quite a boring week, but that gives us time to catch some airdrops here, right? Whitewell, for example, we actually talked about this here on the channel. I actually made an emergency video reminding you guys to vote on this proposal if you are part of the Osmosis community, because the sale airdrop is now officially confirmed, and this airdrop is now for Osmo voters. You will be able to claim this. Also, we have the alt layer airdrop that is coming today, but it's not coming today for TS stakers. So we as TS stakers, we're also getting this airdrop, but you cannot check eligibility for that yet. And updates will be shared once that is coming in the coming weeks. So don't expect anything soon here. You will probably have severe FOMO today once it gets listed and live and has a price with hundreds of millions of trading volume on Binance, because that's where it's going to be traded, at least tens of millions of trading volume, I guess. But yeah, if you look at Manta, which is really a comparable token in that field, that also just went live on Binance, currently at $3, which implies a $3 billion fully diluted valuation. And the airdrop for us, TIA people, is 10% of their airdrop allocation, which is 3% of the supply. So 0.3% is allocated for us. But we have to just be patient here and wait and see how it goes. Another general news is that Persistence is going to ship SDK DYDX very soon. And the special thing here is that if you're staking DYDX tokens, you actually also earn USDC. So what they are doing here now, they're auto-compounding staking rewards through SDK DYDX, where USDC gets converted into DYDX. And so far, 3.5 million USDC have been distributed to validators and stakers since the DYDX chain went live. Let's talk about Cosmos Hub Atom. There have been a lot of features shipped over the past couple of weeks. We talked about inscriptions extensively here, about CFT20 tokens. The marketplace is now live. You can go have fun there. And you can really see the impact of that when it comes to the fees, right? So especially here when inscriptions went live, this is where fees really blew up, right? $20,000 in fees on that single day. And this is a revival for Cosmos Hub culture and for the Cosmos Hub interaction between the chain, the network, and the community, right? And the retail holders. Because now everybody can become creative, inscribe JPEGs, inscribe text, and yeah, use the Cosmos Hub as a data layer. I think that's a new kind of philosophical direction as well for the Cosmos Hub. We also talked a lot about Atom and the Atom economic zone, how the Cosmos Hub has this feature for shared security, and that positioned itself as an interchain service provider. So to recap, the Atom economic zone, which is the economic center with shared security at its core. Then we have now inscriptions with CFT20 tokens and the Cosmos Hub as a data layer. And now we have Atom Wars, which is actually very complementary to all that, because Atom Wars focuses on Atom, the asset. And Atom Wars basically would make Atom a better form of money and really strengthen this interchain capital thesis that Atom really has. So the main author of this proposal has been Thyborg from Informal Systems alongside Juan. Then we have people that provided extensive feedback here. Saki Manian from Inclusion, obviously OG Cosmonaut, and also the creator of the liquid staking module, which is also important for this proposal. Then we have Effort Capital, David from Blockworks, who has a lot of tokenomics proposals that are still coming up that would also generate more revenue for Atom. Sam Hart, OG Cosmonaut as well, and founder of TimeWave, which is also a project that we have covered here on this channel months ago, and Jihan, who is the lead architect for shared security and also works at Informal, and of course, Ethan, who is the Cosmos co-founder and also works at Informal now as his company, Elijah from Neutron, which is basically Duality, which got acquired by Neutron, and Riley from Stride. Now, what are the Atom Wars? The Atom Wars is basically a concept to create a competition amongst projects that want to have Atom liquidity for their products. That means that the Cosmos Hub treasury could potentially have a sustainable revenue model and self-sustain. Number two, it would also mean that Atom would be stronger represented as Interchain capital, being the predominant liquidity asset on all these ecosystems. Thirdly, it would also massively increase the demand and the adoption for liquid staked tokens, LST-Fi basically, LST Finance, because liquid staked tokens such as ST Atom are essential and the base layer for this idea. And that also means it could potentially drive up the bonded ratio for atoms, which means higher bonded ratio and inflation could potentially go down. We talked about this yesterday if you want to learn all about the atom tokenomics and inflation model. And fourth, it could strengthen the synergies between atom secured chains and the atom chain itself and drive more competition for Cosmos Hub shared security. Now, the TLDR for this concept is basically that atom holders can have the ability to lock up their staked atoms, their staked tokens, for up to 1 year in exchange for boosted decision power with regards to the allocation of liquidity injections into third-party projects, which creates a bidding competition, which is considered this war, that opens up a number of new revenue generation opportunity for the Cosmos Hub. So this means if you're an atom holder, you can lock up your atom for up to 1 year, then you get the atom, which has special voting rights to decide where this atom liquidity could go to. Now, this idea is not a new idea. It actually already happened in the past. If you read Atom Proposal 800, 853, and 855, we already saw that projects just go on the general Cosmos Hub governance process, ask for X amount of Atom to be basically lent out as liquidity for their applications, right? For example, we saw Neutron and Stride. They were asking for 450,000 Atom, $4.5 million roughly, to be used to provide liquidity on Neutron, right? So that was deployed in the Atom ST Atom pool, which is beneficial for Stride. It's beneficial for liquidity on Neutron as a DeFi platform. And it just also is beneficial for the end user because we have more DEX liquidity. So all these proposals have passed, but the Cosmos Hub is not fully benefiting from the upside of this. And there's also not a competition between those projects asking for that liquidity, right? Plus, it's also very tedious and hard to always have to go this giant behemoth of Cosmos Hub governance in the first place. A side effect of that, but also a kind of more strategic goal, is to strengthen Atom's role as interchain money and with it increase the value proposition for shared security with more competition that is coming up, such as EtherStake, for example, that is bringing restaked Ethereum to the Cosmos ecosystem, and more shared security models and platforms that are going live in the near future. We have Babylon going live, we have mesh security going live, and so on and so forth. So using shared security as the only value proposition for the Cosmos Hub is not going to be enough. This concept is obviously inspired by the curve wars on Ethereum, and there it's all about liquidity providers, there's incentives for it, and you can lock your CRV tokens for up to 4 years, and then you would have voting rights to decide on this liquidity. The way that would work on Atom Wars is that ST Atom, which is Stride Liquid Staked Atom, would be the base pair for Atom Wars, and you can lock up your ST Atom for a duration of 1 month, 3 months, 6, or 12, and you would receive V tokens that have different voting powers depending on how long you lock it up for. The proposed duration here for each cycle to redistribute liquidity is on a monthly basis. Now let's look deeper into the actual business model and how this adds value for Atom. The first one is, of course, the revenue that is being generated through the protocol-owned liquidity itself, right? So for example, these Atom could be deployed on Neutron, they could be deployed on Osmosis, on Quasar, on Mars, on Umi, on any of the DeFi applications, on Nolus, right? There's a lot of DeFi applications now popping up that generate real yield, right? Even on Conjura, right? There's a lot of opportunities there as well. An example here is that Stride managed to generate roughly 100,000 atoms per year for the Cosmos Hub community pool with their 900K deployment on Osmosis. And this income is going to the community pool right now. And the suggestion for Atom Wars is that this all continues to go to the community pool. This is one thing that generates sustainable income for the Cosmos Hub community. The bids that the projects are willing to pay to secure liquidity injections for their protocol, these bids are proposed to go to vAtom voters. So the way this would work is that you have different tranches that are predetermined, a tranche of X amount of Atom that wants to be deployed in Cosmos DeFi. Then you have a process for projects to set their bids, to also explain their purpose. Where is this going? Osmosis here, for example, this could go into LPing into the Atom and ST Atom pool. This is the expected APR. This is how much it would generate for the Cosmos Hub treasury. And then Kuji could come and say, we want this to be used for liquidity on our DEX, on our platform, and this is our expected APR. And then they can set a bid, right? And they can also increase that bid during that voting period. So they can say, okay, I want to pay 100 Kuji to everyone on a pro rata basis, to everyone who votes for us, right? So this is where the war mentality comes in, right? Because now you have a bidding war. But again, what will win this bid is not the size of the bid. It's not going to be the decisive thing, but actually how many people are voting for them, right? So this is the basic concept. And they're also mentioning here for ICS chains, which are mostly aligned with the Cosmos Hub and Atom's success. Right now, we only have Neutron and Stride. There will be more to come. But that these ICS chains kind of have a priority access to this liquidity and a special rank and hierarchy because they are much more aligned, right? So this is interesting. And then they also explain how on Curve, this actually evolved into DAO Wars. So from Curve Wars into DAO Wars with the creation of convex finance, because the 4-year lockup period was too long for some people. So convex is basically a protocol that tokenizes your 4-year curve bondings. And then they would basically take over and also kind of concentrate the voting power, right? So that's an issue on Curve. I don't know details on that. If you are an avid Curve and convex follower, please let me know what's the current state there. I have no idea, to be quite honest. But it definitely is interesting for Atom to use Atom liquidity and make money with that for the Atom treasury. So this is the basic idea for Atom Wars. I hope this video helps you to better understand. And now it's up to you also to provide feedback on this initial proposal, to also provide insights if you have any improvements, any thoughts on how this could be refined on the game theory, on the economic incentive model, lockups and those kind of things. And maybe this opens up the doors for a new business for the Cosmos Hub.